Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'll welcome Tracii Guns, and we're going to talk all about the new Sunbomb album, Light Up the Sky. He'll also give us an update on the newest LA Guns album, as well as appearing in a Michael Jackson video, and much more. Lots to cover in this episode. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So let's jump in and let's get started. I want to just start off, Tracii, by just congratulating you on the forthcoming release of the Sunbomb second album, Light Up the Sky. When did you and Michael decide that you guys were going to do a second album?
We didn't decide. Frontiers contacted us. It had been a couple of years, I think, since the first one came out, and they're like, hey guys, come on now, you have to do this and that. And I'm like, fuck that. And it had nothing to do with the music. Like I was having some problems with Frontiers, big time, and Michael as well. But so I hit Michael, we got to do this, and he goes, yeah, we got to do it, And I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and I was just like fuck, man. And I wasn't feeling metal at all. I go back and forth between all kinds of music in my brain and what I prepare for, and my friend goes, hey man, just go home, just write it, just get it done, kind of a thing,
Okay.
And so I did, and I came home and I wrote 7 songs, like 7 complete arrangements. There were ideas that I had before,
Yep.
And I was sending them to my buddy. I go, check this out, man. Thanks for pushing me, kind of a vibe. And kind of got those, and I got with Adam, drummer, and I go, hey, I got all this stuff ready to go. He's like, holy shit, where did this come from? I go, I don't know. Where does any of it come from, really?
Right.
And so he got those 7 down really quick, like in a day or two. And then I went and re-recorded all the guitars on those original 7. And then was kind of experimenting with guitar sounds and stuff during that time, kind of putting it together. And then once I had that together, I was like, okay, now I need to write some epic shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I got the rockers going, but I wanted to, because the first Sunbomb record, it had some epic shit on it,
Right. Yep.
So I spent a little bit more time on those, and man, like I don't know, 2.5 weeks, I had everything done, all the music done, finished, because I had other shit to do. You know what I mean? It just came out of nowhere, and I wanted to get it done. And when I'm under pressure, that's when I can really just spontaneously create something,
Right.
which is not the case with LA Guns. I mean, I could, but I don't have to. LA Guns is on schedule, and I have plenty of time to drink coffee in the morning and think about what I'm going to do. But it's like this: is it needed to get done quick,
Right.
and got it to Michael. He's like, "Holy shit, dude!" I'm like, right? Fuck, wow, fucking, let's go. And it didn't take Michael very long either, man. I think he got together with Ali again, who also left Frontiers, but at the time he was there, he helps Michael with lyrics, and he's an amazing musician, this guy. And next thing I knew, the whole album was done, and we turned it in. Like,
Right.
Here you go.
So I'm really curious, Tracii. So I've heard the album, an advanced copy of it, and I wrote near one or two songs epic when I was describing
Right?
it. So I'm curious now which songs you think were epic, because like I said, in Grace Will Find Our Name, I literally I wrote that down. I wrote epic next to it.
Yeah.
Light Up the Skies.
Oh
Great.
man.
Sounds like Diary of a Madman meets 2024. And I said,
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah. I mean, those are the ones. Those are the big ones, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And the funny thing is about Light Up the Skies is it's the same riff from Speed. Let me grab a guitar and I'll show you something.
Awesome.
Let's see. So the reoccurring Diary of a Madman lick, you know,
Yeah.
it's become a thing that I just rely on. It's better than relying just on 12 bar, right?
Sure.
So like Speed is, but Light Up the Sky is, it's the same lick, like, you know, whole octave. But I did the same thing on the first Sunbomb record with a song called Life.
Right.
You know, so I'm able to use those three chords in those ways. And the other part, that's Angie by Bert Jansch, like different rhythm, like a rock rhythm.
Right. Sure.
Right. So I know where I got those parts from.
Okay.
You know, and I kind of put them together, and it's kind of like the Don't Fear the Reaper kind of feel. You know, the guitar part is so definite. It's so defining, and it's what in my music theory class or my music appreciation class, I learned that this minor sixth progression where you know, you go from, you know, a minor scale, you use the first note, go to the sixth note in the scale, those chords back and forth. It's the most pleasing to humans, that chord progression.
Yep.
So wherever possible, I'm like, oh, that works.
Right. Right.
And it gives it that epic feel, you know.
Absolutely.
It really does. But that song, you know, once you get past all the really cool, you know, orchestrated parts that all go together really well, going into the middle section and all that stuff, that took time.
Right.
You know, it was like, ooh, now what? You know, kind of, yeah.
Well, you know, to me, the album just as a whole sounds like, to me, it could be a follow-up to Sabbath's Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules albums. This could have come out in '83, and I don't, you know, but it sounds current. But is that something you guys, I know the first Sunbomb albums has a little bit of similar sounds. Is that something you guys are going after with this?
Oh yeah, it's all about early 80s metal, you know, and like kind of our greatest impressions of early 80s metal, the things that we love, you know, that Michael and I love. And those are the same things that were the most popular stuff back then.
Sure.
And, you know, and people like you and that love that kind of music gravitate towards Sunbomb. You're like, whoa, you know, this is new 80s metal, you know, real 80s metal,
right?
You know, falls to death metal. It's the good stuff.
But it sounds current to me at the same time. It doesn't sound like it's dated, and it really sounds.
But I mean, that stuff's timeless, man. You know, when
agreed.
You know, if you know, I don't know, or Crazy Train come on the radio now, it doesn't sound dated to me. You know, it's
agreed.
Agreed. Like, oh, this is still better than anything else. You know, I love it.
No, I agree. Now, for you as a songwriter, when you're writing the music, do you approach it different, writing for somebody like Michael Sweet as opposed to when you're writing for LA Guns and Phil singing the song?
Not really, you know. I've had the luxury of, you know, 30 plus years of trial and error, you know, kind of thing. And my arrangements, depending on, you know, style to style, what type of song it is, I haven't really changed anything, you know what I mean? So as long as I'm, you know, I can, you know, the vocalist and writer, you know, they can identify, oh, that's an intro, that's a verse, that's a, you know, pre-chorus, that's a chorus. Oh, what's this part? Better not sing over that.
Right.
You know, so I it's an instinct, you know what I mean? It's the instinct of, you know, the song, you know, I mean, thank God I'm not trying to you know, take inspiration from what's that Lennon song, something about a gun. where the music never repeats itself. It
Right.
just happiness is a warm gun.
Yes. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just, Gilby Clark's like, hey, we're gonna do happiness is a warm gun. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go learn it. And I could call them like an hour and a half. I go, fuck that, dude. I ain't spending all week learning this one 3 minute song.
Right. Right. Right.
You
That
know,
is so funny.
so I
So
stick to
yeah.
simple arrangements.
So I mean, we're talking about the arrangements, and we're talking about it, this album having like a Sabbath feel. Would you say was Tony Iommi an influence on you as a guitarist and a songwriter?
Yeah, I guess I don't mention him enough in interviews. I mean, yeah, Page and Iommi and Hendrix. That's the bottom. That's
Sure.
those are the lords. Those are the real riff lords and the tone kings.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm so into Randy, I don't get asked in the same question. It should be like, oh, you love Randy and Tony, because that's what it's all about. Is yes, and Randy wasn't that big a Tony fan, I guess. That's the claim. But I think he was. And because, Randy kind of just added another distortion pedal to what Tony was doing. Yep. And it's evident when he plays Children of the Grave and stuff like that, when they would play Sabbath live. And, but yeah, those two guys are so important on an album like this.
Sure.
You know what I mean? For inspiration, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I was on the 2022 Kiss Cruise, and I know you were there, and so was Michael. And I know you guys got up on stage and you did Van Halen's Ain't Talking About Love with Sebastian Bach. Was that the first time you and Michael ever performed together on stage?
Second time.
Second. What was the first?
The first time we did Ain't Talking About Love at a Striper show at the Whiskey here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was before we even had the idea of Sunbomb. That was just us, jamming. Mm-hmm. That was really good. That's when we were like, whoa, that was some chemistry happening there. Right. And then Sunbomb kind of was born out of that. But yeah, that was only the second time we had ever been on stage together.
Interesting. One of the things I love about those kind of cruises and the Monsters of Rock cruise is it gives the artist an opportunity to kind of commingle that maybe since you guys are all touring separately, you don't get that chance.
Yeah.
Is there ever any talk of like, hey, you and Michael could do a couple of Sunbomb songs on the Monsters of Rock or something like that?
We never really talk about it. We did on the first album, like, how are we ever going to do this live kind of the 10-minute conversation? And it's just, the reality is we would have to put both of our bands down for a couple months at least just to get a band together and rehearse a set. And then at that point decide, hey, we should go play and like put an LA Gun Striper tour together with Sunbomb kind of thing like that. And I mean, that's the most likely way we would do it, but we've never seriously been able to put that together.
Yeah. We're talking about the live bands right now, and as you probably see in the news on a regular basis, there's so many bands that are getting called out for using tracks and things like that. I know you with LA Guns. Phil has been very open. We don't do that stuff. I don't know if you saw this week, John 5 had to defend himself and talking about, he was talking about hammer-ons and pull-offs and how people were saying he really wasn't playing. What's your thoughts on tracks in concert and all of that?
It's like, I don't know. I would be really embarrassed to even think of doing that. You know what I mean? Like it's embarrassing to me. Like, can you imagine Chuck Berry playing a backing track? Or Keith Richards or anything like that? I mean, look, musicians' money's hard to come by. John's in a good position to make some bread. And I get it, man. And good for him. But if I was playing in a band, playing original music, a rock and roll band, and I was there, and all of a sudden that band I was in was all over the internet getting fucking mud thrown at him, I couldn't do it, man. I'd be like, hey, man, I love you guys, thanks for the dough, man, but my legacy, I don't want my legacy to be like, yeah, I was the guy playing live in the band that wasn't. That ain't cool. And speaking of the Kiss Cruise, there's been so many claims that like Kiss uses tracks like that. Man, I was there. I was on stage. I was with their techs, man. Those guys lit that place up with I don't know what the fuck people are talking about.
Well,
Kiss is it.
it's this, it's all the rage, it's all the stories right now, and some
Yeah.
maybe are true and some aren't. Who knows? But to me, I'm with
No,
you. I'd
I
much
think
rather hear live music, mistakes, warts, and all.
I think uh some bands need it because that's part of their production on their album. It's like,
Right.
they'll do like, you know, you know, like a three-part vocal harmony, but there's only two guys in the band and a
Right.
full
Sure.
orchestra and shit like that. And so like those bands are more geared towards that thing. Like they go in going, okay, this has to be set up like this because we're doing it this way, and this is how we create this huge sound. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And if that's the intent going in, well, then there's nothing to be ashamed of because then you're known as we're an electronic band.
Right.
Like Nine Inch Nails, for example, or a lot of those first electronic really heavy bands. What's the even better one? Ministry, right?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
They got a lot of electronic music going on. You know
Sure.
what I mean? A lot of stuff going on. So when that's the intention, that's cool.
Right.
But like Johnny Martin, he ain't gonna like pre-record his bass tracks at
Right.
LA
Right.
Guns thing.
Yep.
Like we're not gonna have a click track at LA Guns
Right.
or anything like that. But everybody's different. It's kind of laughable, I guess.
Hmm.
But people do what they feel they got to do.
I guess so, right? Now, to me, you've been very prolific the last few years. Like we said, this is the second Sunbomb album, right? In between, you had an LA Guns album, Black Diamonds, that came out, right? Yet I
Yeah.
look around at your peers and I see, lately Alex Van Halen selling off all of his stuff. Kiss just announced in December their final shows and they've sold the brand. The band Kicks retired last year. A lot of our peers, a lot of those bands from the 80s are now kind of retiring. Do you ever
Yeah.
think, hey, you know what, Tracii Guns, I've done enough in my life. One day I'm going to retire, or are you going to rock till you're 100 years old?
you know, I'm going to keep going until I can.
Nice.
I mean, I think my saddest thing is the whole reason I exist as a guitar player is Jimmy Page, and I make no bones about that.
Sure.
And I used to just kind of use him as a guide, for life as a guitarist.
Sure.
But when John Bonham died, and then he did the Firm, and then the Coverdale page, I thought, okay, that's how you survive
Sure.
after kind of do this kind of thing. But then he didn't anymore. He did the Black Crowes thing, which I thought was brilliant.
Yep.
I just thought that was amazing. But I thought that should have been or could have been the future. What he would do is get some younger guys that are really heavy rock guys, blues guys, and continue on and do that. But he's made no attempt.
Right.
I don't think he's complicit. I think that he may have been wanting to do something with Chris Cornell, which would have made a lot of sense, and then he
Sure.
died.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So that's like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to just like pack it up and wait for an opportunity like a Chris Cornell to come along and then like build a new career. It's like, he's 9 years older than me and he's stronger than ever.
Yep.
So, I'm not really thinking horribly about, the near future. I mean, I don't never really thought about the future, unfortunately. But, I mean, I have a good network of friends and musicians that have star power in different ways and things like that. So at some point, I might start fiddling with another type of rock band,
Okay.
that, because, Phil's going to live till he's 100 and I'm going to live till I'm 90. So, we're going to make it that far. But, from 80 to 90, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I got a couple of years to figure that out. But for now, we got our new album. I just finished it last night. I finished all the music last night. It'll be out in March. We head out on tour the end of July, all the way till the end of the year, basically, and then we start up again next March.
That's
And
awesome.
That's what's important right now. And then, Sunbomb record coming out, I think Friday, I think.
Friday, yep.
Yeah, I don't talk to Frontiers anymore, so I don't know what they're doing with all my records. But yeah, there's plenty of music going on in my life.
That is great news for all your fans. Yeah, one or two more questions, Tracii, if you don't mind. So one thing I want to mention that's really not to do with music, right? But it was 2 years ago this week, right, that you were doing a show in Texas and you had to perform it from the restroom. You had an anxiety and a panic disorder. And in my mind, I know people who suffer from bad anxiety. And in my mind, it's like, hey, Tracii could have just said, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to bail on this concert tonight. But instead, you performed. You were open about what you were feeling. And I as somebody who has family members who suffer from high anxiety, the first thing I want to say is just thank you for being so open about that. I think when people in your position are open about things like that, it just gives other people a comfort to say, you know what, I'm not going to be embarrassed about this anxiety. I'm not going to kind of hide from it. I'm going to embrace it. And I know I'm working on things. So I want to take this opportunity to just say thank you for that, right, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to let people know in a situation like that there's a human, behind the guitar and behind the image and behind all these things, and the mentality of how to deal with things really is a big inspiration from Duff. Duff, when he got sober, he got into kickboxing.
Yeah.
And I walked by where he was practicing, and I looked in the window. I go, "Fuck, that's Duff, man." So I hadn't talked to him in 6 or 7 years. So I just went in, and he's like, "Holy shit!"
Good.
I'm like, "Hey, man, just wanted to say hi." He goes, "No, wait, I'm going to finish up in a minute. Let me take you home." And my girlfriend at the time, I said, "Duff's going to drive me home and whatever." And we were talking about anxiety, because that was kind of the cause of his addiction, alcohol was the best way to deal with being anxious and, panic and stuff like that. And what he had learned in therapy back then, I hadn't been through any therapy then. And what he said is he just looked at me, he goes, "Look, man, it's your life. You make the decisions that are best for you in any situation, and that's what helped him get through. And I've really held on to those very short words. It's like, "Oh yeah, I don't feel like dying today."
Right.
So I'm going to do what I can to not die, and I'm still going to play for these people. And and then after it happened, and Tom Kiefer came up to me at the truck stop after the show, and he goes, "That's the fucking coolest thing I ever seen. Nobody's ever done that before." Right. I go, "Thank God, nobody else has ever had to do it, But we got it. More press out of that than anything good we've ever done in our career." So, but there's still the occasional complete piece of shit human that goes, "You're the guy that played in the bathroom." And it's and you're the guy that can't get out of your mom's house. You know what I mean? It's it's fuck you people, man. But yeah, and I got a lot of mail from psychiatric groups and things, lots of email, that was brave. Thank you, for being an example for people that are struggling.
Exactly.
So that made me feel really good.
Sure.
It's oh, all right, that had a purpose then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you can do something and it has a positive outcome, because nobody at the show was complaining. I went up on stage at the end and said, "Hey, I'm here." Everybody was like, "Oh," so.
And that's what I took from it. I took the positives from it. And to me, it's a good way for other people to see that, everybody's human. Everybody has their things that they're working on, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my anxiety has really been the downfall of a lot of opportunities for LA Guns, over the years, even when I was younger, when I was my mid-20s, after we had been through all the really, the first 3 records just going fucking nuts for 4.5, 5 years. I was an old man. I was 26, 27. I was an old man.
You're an old man.
I was ready to never leave the house again. And then I had to. And then I discovered, wait a minute, I'm a young man,
Sure.
And so I'll take what I can get and I'll do what I can. And, big deal, man. Play in the bathroom for an hour.
That's right. So I need you to also help clarify if this is true or not. So everybody knows Eddie Van Halen played the guitar solo on Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Hmm?
Were you one of the gang members slash dancers in the Beat It video?
I was. And it's funny because I took the gig because I thought Eddie was going to be in the video.
Oh,
And
really?
he wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't in the video. And there was 2 trailers, and Michael would come out of one whenever he was going to shoot a scene, but we never saw anybody in the other trailer. And I'm like, Eddie's in there, man. You know, he's going to come out. He's going to do this, man. I was there for 2 days. I'm just a background guy. I'm the guy that runs around the truck. That's like my best scene. You know, that's
Okay. I'll have to rewatch because
my,
I watched it. I'm like, I don't see Tracii. Which one's Tracii? Which one? And I think you had blonde hair at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, I have blonde hair. I'm not the guy with the wrapped up bandana.
Okay.
I'm only 17. That guy's like 30.
Right.
Everybody thinks I'm that guy. I'm the guy. I got a leather jacket on, kind of like a Kaja Gugu kind of haircut, and I run around the old pickup truck as the gang jumps in, and you can see my face, and then they show me around. And then at the end, I'm dancing in the background. You know, I'm like, oh yeah. But that was the most money I made in my life to that point. We got overtime as extras, and I think I got a total of $1,200 for the 2 days. I was like,
nice. Right. And that's 83 money. So that's good.
Man, I think it was before that.
Really?
Yeah, maybe 83, 82.
Maybe 82, 83. Yeah, it becomes a blur, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you know, what's not a blur, obviously, is the new album, like we said, is coming out on Friday, Light Up the Sky, right? So, and I think you mentioned before there's going to be new LA Guns. It sounds like in March as well.
March, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else that you want your fans to know about the new Sunbomb album?
It's metal, man. You know,
it is.
It's legit. It sounds great. Michael's at the top of his game. I mean, he's practically singing opera over that whole bitch, you know, and just, you know, another opportunity, you know, to stick a new metal album that's not a modern metal album. You know, that's kind of the thing about it is, you know, my friends that are in modern metal bands, they love Sunbomb because it's like, oh fuck yeah, you know, like nobody's doing that shit. So yeah, you know, I'm real proud of the things that Michael and I do together, and I'm looking forward to hear what critics say, you know, because the last one I was really waiting to get bashed, you know, for ripping off all my influences so blatantly, but nobody did, you know. So we'll see on this one. I really went for it on this one.
Yeah, you know, to me, I hear the influences. Even a song like "Scream Out Loud," to me, I hear Neon Nights again from Sabbath.
Totally.
But you know, but it's not a ripoff. To me, it's just pulling off your influences, and that's what I feel like many musicians do. That there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I definitely ain't gonna be fucking ripping off Eric Clapton for a Sunbomb record. You know?
I saw recently where you made a comment like he's not. I guess you comparing him to Jeff Beck, right?
Well, what it was it was in the Shout It Out Loud podcast. We were talking about the guys that are on the top shelf, you know, and Richie Blackmore was the inspiration for that question. And we were talking about, well, definitely Jeff Beck, definitely Jimmy Page, Hendrix, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy says, well, how come Clapton's always in there? Like, what did he do? And I'm like, yeah, you know, he no, you know, I mean, when he was in Cream, you know, he had Jack Bruce and Ginger back there, and those are dirty motherfuckers. Those are badasses, right? Sure. And so, you know, I feel like Clapton kind of rose to the occasion in Cream, but after that, to me, he's just a really great songwriter. After that, like, you know, right. But as far as a productive, you know, bar raising rock guitarist, you know, putting him in the same breath with Jeff Beck is a little bit offensive, I think, to Jeff Beck, you know, and that's my personal opinion. And, you know, you can't change my mind on that.
And to me, there's nothing wrong with people having opinions, right? I mean, if everybody was the same, if everybody played guitar the same and wrote songs the same, the world would be really boring.
Yeah, it would, you know, and I went through a Clapton period where I forced myself to see the light. You know, when I was, man, how old was I? 24. You know, I went to the video store because, you know, you couldn't. There wasn't all this cable TV and stuff, and you know all that. I went to the video store and I got everything I could find on Clapton. And my girlfriend at the time was like, "What are you doing?" I go, man, I got, everybody's praising this guy. I got to see what this is all about. Dude, I could not get through the more than 40 minutes of any of his performances, and I'm just like, my fucking God, man, really? Like this guy's God, And so I gave it the thing. And then I was with Eddie Van Halen later, like around 91 or 92. And we were in his little workshop and he had some CDs laying around. And the first thing I saw was Physical Graffiti. Okay. I was like, oh, you like Page? He goes, yeah, I fucking love that guy. And I'm like, you never say that? He goes, yeah, I know. I go, but you love Clapton. He goes, no, it's not like that. He goes, Sunshine of Your Love, I draw from that. There's like there was something there, man. Sure. But everybody else putting words in my mouth. Clapton wasn't his biggest influence in any way. If anything, with Eddie, he talked about who's a little fucking guy that wrote Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Rick Derringer. Fucking Eddie loved Rick Derringer, man. He was all about Derringer, But yeah, so I love that Guitar, magazine make the headline. Tracii Guns says Clapton sucks, man.
Oh man. Well,
I love it, man.
You know the way these sites are, they'll just pick up a quote just to kind of have people click and read and whatever. That's the way the world is.
Well, don't you feel though, this is what I get out of that, like the clickbait kind of thing, right? In my case, when they do that, I can always tell whoever the journalist is that's editing the headline, that's what they want to say.
Right.
Like, well, Tracii Guns says this shit. Here's in your face. Right. I kind of take it that way because I mean, I don't really talk that much shit, but when I do, it's just really, I don't know what the word is. It's a strong feeling I have. I'm not just saying something to say it.
Yep. Understandable. Well, Tracii, I want to thank you for your time today. Like I said, the Sunbomb record is out this Friday, Light Up the Sky. I've heard it ahead of time. To me, there's a bunch of really great rockers on this. To me, if you love that Dio era Sabbath, you're going to love this album.
Thanks.
I strongly encourage people to go check it out, stream it. More importantly, will you have physical product like your CDs or vinyl?
Yeah, I mean, I always get that stuff, but I kind of sit on it at the house,
Okay.
Yeah, because I got a collection of all my records in the living room and those, Amazon record frames. So
sure.
So I take all my vinyls, all my stuff that I made, and got them everywhere. So I'll probably get like, 3 or 4 Sunbomb things, and I'll give them to a couple people for Christmas, and then that's the end.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Nice. Well, again, Tracii, I want to thank you for the time. Certainly the fans can look for you out on the road with LA Guns this summer, going into next year. New Sunbomb album this Friday, new LA Guns next year. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Tracii.
Hey, my pleasure, Mike. Thank you.
Yes, take it easy. Talk to you soon.
Rock and roll, man.
Yes, bye-bye. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Tracii for being really generous with his time. I had a lot of fun chatting, and I definitely recommend everybody watching and listening go check out that new Sunbomb album. You guys are going to really dig it, I promise. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.